Warm up today, 3 rounds, 10 air squats, 8 push-ups to down dog, 6 glute bridges. In those air squats, we're looking for feet about shoulder width apart, toes turned out, hips to sit back and down, getting below parallel, standing tall, getting those hips fully extended at the top. After your 10, 8 push-up to down dog, keeping those elbows nice and tight. Push up to the floor, press yourself out, get those lats stretched out, pedal those calves at the top. After your 8, 6 glute bridges all the way down to the ground, drive those shoulders into the floor, push those hips high, full extension, get those glutes nice and warmed up.
Workout today, working through some Tabata work. So 8 rounds, 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest. We're gonna work through 4 different movements, separate each movement by a minute of rest. First one being an overhead weight hold. Second one being a weighted glute bridge, and then a full push-up, and then a broad jump to finish off our 4th movement. The way that it's gonna work, we're gonna work through 1 full movement for 8 rounds, go through 20 on, 10 off, work through, and then switch movements. We're not gonna alternate through every round. So starting with that overhead weight hold, if we only have 1 dumbbell, we'll work through that full extension, locking out, keeping that core nice and tight, trying to keep those ribs down. Try not to let your back overextend that way. Tuck those ribs, squeeze the abs, lock out, hold for 20 seconds. During your 10-second rest, we can then switch hands and work the other way. Again, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. If we have 2 dumbbells, ideally we can lock out both hands overhead for 20 seconds. Rest for 10 in the front rack. If you want to set it down, that's totally fine. But know that if we set it down, you're basically going to be setting it down. 10 seconds is going to be up. We're going to be picking it back up and working through. The weighted glute bridge. All the way down to the ground. Again, trying to add weight over the top of those hips. Glute bridge, push the shoulders into the ground. Drive the heels down. Squeeze those glutes at the top. Push-ups. Another bodyweight movement we've been working on for the past couple weeks here. Looking again, hands about shoulder width apart, tucking those elbows into our lats. Chest touches the floor, back to the top. We can obviously scale that from our knees, or we can obviously put something underneath for a target. If we would like, we can work through a couple eccentric push-ups every round as well. Last is gonna be that full broad jump, working a little bit on that explosion. Depending on space, you might have to jump forward one direction, spin around quick, and jump back. But looking for those feet about hip width apart, driving down, driving out, and then if you need to, turn around, broad jump back.
Mobility today, 2 times through 2 sets. We're gonna start with that iron cross. So laying on your back, and then think about making that T with your arms, reaching that foot over to that opposite hand, doing your best to keep your shoulders on the ground there, stretch out that low back. We'll hold for 30 seconds, and switch sides, and work the other way, hold for 30. After your 30, popping up to one knee, that half kneeling hip flexor stretch. So again, finding that foot position that allows that stretch to come through the front of that hip, holding for 30 seconds, and then again, switching sides, holding for another 30. And then after that, finishing off with that seated straddle. So legs nice and wide, reach forward as far as you can, hold for a minute, and then after that minute, we'll repeat 30 seconds iron cross, hip flexor, and then 60 seconds of that seated straddle.